Very next thing I need to do is set up some system where I can maybe tilt this up at an angle and just start attaching these wires. I'm sure something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go haywire while I do it. Some stuff's going to come disconnected. There's going to be, some complication attaching the board and securing it in place. There's going to be some complication putting the magnets on. And that's sort of an ongoing theme with doing this, or any project that I've never done before, that unexpected stuff comes up all the time. It's sort of a life lesson. If I had set some due date for this, some deadline for it to be done, then stuff like that takes a bunch of time to figure out would have been really frustrating. It would make me really mad and make me not want to continue. And, if I had to make a checklist of all the little steps you had to do to get this project done, there might be 150 things on that checklist, but the actual hidden checklist for how many steps it actually ends up taking is more like 1,000 things. And if I get too frustrated that things aren't going as quickly as I thought, that it's just going to make me mad. It's going to turn this, which is supposed to be fun, it's going to turn this into work, and it's going to be really stressful. So, I don't have time every day to work on this. Sometimes a week or two will go by and I don't have time to work on it. So I have to be content with any little bit of progress that I can make. So if I just have 15 minutes to work on it and I get some little tiny thing done, even, having to redo, I went ahead and put the squishy tack switches on the L and R buttons, and I really like that. I'm glad I did it. But I felt silly doing it because that was supposed to already be done, But if I get frustrated about it, then it turns into work. So any little bit that you can do is progress, and it was necessary. Okay, no more life lesson. But yeah, the very next thing is attaching things on here. So I'm nervous. The more wires that I attach, the more crowded it's going to be. And it's going to be kind of a spaghetti mess of wires when it's all done. But that'll be a huge step forward. And after that, there's only one or two things left to do. So I'm excited about that. Check it out. Everything went pretty well. I went really slow and careful with all the solder points. I started at the bottom when I had the micro board set up kind of like a V right here. I started with all the points on the bottom. And sort of worked my way up so that as I had to lean it closer and closer, I wasn't cutting off access to anything that I needed. And it went really well. I was really careful, making sure that each solder point was really solid, really strong before moving on to the next one. So I've gone ahead. I've already been hot gluing some of the wires down to keep them out of the way. It's really ugly, huge mess underneath this board because it's just a spaghetti jungle of wires. I sort of underestimated how much thickness the wires were going to add under this part of the board, and so it's still thicker than I want it to be. But I'm going to try to turn the battery sideways and kind of tuck it up as far up as I can. Maybe hopefully get it to fit there. So I just need to figure out, just a couple of, if I can get it a little bit thinner, it's still just slightly thicker. If I position everything just right and really squeeze it shut, then it closes all the way. But I'd rather have it be easier than that. But I'm happy with how it's turned out so far. The D-pad is a little bit stiff, but the diagonals work okay. All the buttons seem to be working. The volume works. The trick where you hold down L and do the volume buttons changes the brightness like it's supposed to. So I'm happy about that. The next thing to tackle is closing it. Again, it's thicker than I had anticipated because of all the wires in between. It would have been way worse if I had kept that board in there. But I'll figure something out, and then some way to close it up. I have these posts here for magnets to put magnets onto. If that's still going to work, then that's good. I like the magnets. Almost there. So these magnets went on pretty good. I did the trick of putting some hot glue on these magnets and then closing it to see how close I was to, this edge, if there was going to be room for the magnets. It took a couple of tests, some trial and error, but then when I had these heights okay, I had to put some plastic on there. I stuck the magnets on there, put some epoxy on the magnets, and then shoved this side on there. And then didn't touch it. I put heavy stuff on it to make sure that it would, it was squeezing it together, and then finally took it apart, and it fits okay. I put epoxy over the top of the magnets on purpose because when I did the wooden Game Boy, the magnets were too strong, and one of the magnets pulled out and came unglued because it was too strong. But now I think it's pretty much done. I went ahead and got a Easy Flash 4, and I took it apart. There was a battery soldered on this side, and I took that out because I was afraid it was going to make this board too tall. This piece that I was using to fit the game in, it didn't fit. The Easy Flash didn't fit in there because it's got some components on this side of it, so I had to trim this down. But it fits okay like that. So I kind of slide that one in first, and then this one. And it's a little bit taller than a typical game, but it still fits, so that's a huge relief. I didn't want to have to mess with it and try to finagle it in. So it's caught on this button. There we go. Oh, there's the blue light lighting up. Sometimes it doesn't quite snap closed all the way. I might have to put another magnet on the bottom maybe. But this is working. Let's see. It's the kind that you have to wait for it to load it up. And there it goes. Not bad at all. So it works great. I'll probably make another exhibition video to make jokes about it, but that's that. I'm really glad that it finished and that it turned out the way I envisioned it. I'll have to clean that screen. There's some junk on there. If I were to spend more time on it, I would want to figure out some way to protect that screen. It's just straight up, it's just a hole in the controller and the bare screen behind it. Game Boy Micros had faceplates to protect the screen, and there's nothing there. Maybe even just a screen, like a peel-on off screen protector. But for now, it's great and it's working, so I'm really happy about that.